Hello, everyone. Up on the podcast today is vitamin E, a little bit about cod liver oil, and what else? Lithium. So these are just kind of random, but things that are coming up for me. There is a supplement out there called lithium orotate or aspartate, but typically orotate's the one you can find. It's about 10 milligrams. And a lot of people are taking it for like maybe 20 milligrams for brain health and mood disorder and depression and different things at very low doses compared to like you know pharmaceutical lithium treatment for like bipolar or other conditions. So a lot of people have found that these help get the person kind of on a more better what's the word just a less reactive, further away from like anger, I guess, a little more centered. I mean, it's like it helps the brain. It has other properties for neuro functioning, the nervous system, Alzheimer. It actually works against that, brain degeneration. It has positive effects on many systems in the body at that dose. So there is people who do more with it. I think they go up to like 30, 40 or something like that. And of course, there is dangers with lithium in the body. But from what I've gathered from different websites and doctors, and a few different doctors who've been working with this for years and years, like 30 years, 40 years, that they were testing for lithium for many different, trimesters and things like that to figure out and not to harm people. And they eventually stopped testing. So their patients, because they realized that that dose was not doing anything negative in the body, either to the thyroid or kidney or anything else. So that's an interesting tip because it's just something very available and it's floating around out there. And the reason I bring it up is because the heart of tradition, it's all about taking traditions and bringing the heart of that tradition back to the modern surface. So that means it's not the tradition itself because that's an old world, but the heart of the tradition is where we bring it to the surface and we use it now. And the active part of the tradition, which is the wisdom and the part that maintains itself throughout time. So what that means is the Greeks may have taken a lithium bath and sent people to certain waters in Bulgaria or the, at the far end of the kingdom or whatever it was to get treatment for conditions and mental conditions, basically back then. And so we have to kind of learn from them. Like, why were they doing that? What was so important about it? And why was it so essential to have that? And so we see it through the lithium explosion. There's like a lot of lithium. There's a lot of studies on areas that have lithium-based water systems. Well, you could create your own lithium water, I guess, but or a lithium bath even. I bet you that's even something that could be created. Just like the Greeks created all their other baths that worked for magnesium and everything else. So um, that, like I was saying, there is areas of America where lithium is high in the concentration in the not just like um, vegetation or things like that, but also in the water and deeper wells and which Texas is famous for that too, like a lot of deep well water systems. And so there's a lot of lithium down there for sure. And it comes into certain regions, and those regions have like less suicide, less crime, etc. There's always these connections. They have strong connections with crime and lithium, lack of lithium, like in hair analysis or whatever. So what it means is we can't forget the Greeks because they kind of keep teaching us stuff. They keep teaching us stuff. I mean, not only democracy and all the things we learn from that, but they teach us stuff that we can modernize and bring to modern populations in a new way. So that's a really good tip. I would recommend a lot of people to jump on that. You can start off with like 5 or whatever, and work your way up to 20 or depending on whatever you're trying to do, I guess. But we know that the 20 is safe. So because of that, there's no real long-term danger. Now, some people that take more than 20 they found a trick. Now I don't know how effective it is fully. But it was effective. Like there was a few patients that this was tested on. There was more than that in studies, but the patients that I found through the same doctor who had been doing this for 30 or 40 years, and there's many doctors who've been working with this stuff for 30, 40 years. This stuff's been around, and found out that it was like a woman who had severe manic depression, and her case was a more severe case, and so she was on the lithium, but she had toxic side effects from it, and some people do. Like a certain percentage of people have very toxic effects, and so like really strong tremor, visible, and all these things. So she, she was recommended to take I guess it was like a teaspoon of a teaspoon of flaxseed oil, cold pressed, bought in the refrigerated section, possibly, preferably. And she was given 1 teaspoon per meal, I guess 3 times a day, and in conjunction with a vitamin E supplement, which was about 800 IU, so kind of 2 pills, I guess, in the standard breakdown of that. And you do have to watch yourself because there's so much soy-based vitamin E and soy-based everything now that we have to be careful. I personally feel like it's almost impossible to find vitamin E made otherwise. I mean, it used to be made from wheat germ, and that's gone now. And I mean, maybe you can find the wheat germ, or there's a different way to do it. But the recommendation for this person was not to get all hippy trippy like I would get and find all this interesting stuff, which is not bad, but we're just going to give you the way it was given. So it was just alpha tocopherols, mixed tocopherols, basically. So you can find that like Solgar, or as one of the brands that they use safflower, which I don't really like for frying. I think it's horrible, but at the same time, in this indication, it may be okay. So that's an interesting thing, to take the 800 IU plus the teaspoon of I keep wanting to say cod liver oil, but it's flaxseed oil. So alongside with your treatment, and avoid toxic side effects if you go beyond 20 milligrams. But you may be getting more effects and more benefits from it too. So that's a little trick I'm leaving you with that's safe. Now, safe, until you get up to a certain threshold, of course. Like if you go too high, then, you may start seeing conditions and things but you'd have to go pretty high, I think, considering the studies. A lot higher than you would if you're trying to stay close to 20 and you max out at like 60 or 50 or something sometimes, or whatever. So, that can work. A lot of people also, for like conditions, will do a certain amount of lithium orotate, but I haven't confirmed that really works yet. Like if it's like a severe or a real case of bipolar, it may not work until you get to a much higher dose that is almost like you're taking like 10 pills instead of 1 pill a day, and it's like 100 milligrams. But anyway, it's all speculation because nobody's really testing this stuff in that paradigm, because the pharmaceutical paradigm does not really want to test that a supplement can do what they're doing. So it's hard to find any real research on it, with the exception of a guy named Hans Neiper, who wrote some books, and I guess you can find books about him, but he had studies that were done in 1970s, and he was using it, and he really pissed off a lot of the FDA with a lot of the stuff he was doing. Which probably means he was onto something. But but being onto something doesn't mean that, he was there to cure bipolar. he was probably there to uh, to help humanity find lithium again, which is great. At smaller doses without having to go into the deeper doses. So anyway, that's interesting. And then another thing is cod liver oil. I always recommend now the Rosita brand because it really just has a powerful profile, a vitamin profile, and it can be used in the place of possibly for this flaxseed. Maybe you have to use less of it, but um, it can also be used intermittently there because you need a high omega-3 but natural omega-3, not coming from omega-3 labeled vitamins and vitamins and oils and stuff. Like, this is just naturally present in there. They're not putting anything else in there. They're not just like removing vitamins and then saying now it has the omega-3s, but now there's no vitamins in it, and which they do when they make the oils. And so there's this whole idea that, like, now you get this omega-3, but then all the God-given vitamins are pulled out of it, or the natural cofactors or whatever. So, and then they add back synthetic vitamins into it. So, which on the positive side, the synthetic vitamins work better whenever they're in this kind of substrate because there is a little bit of cofactors in there. So that's another powerful food that people should be on. Every American should probably have some Rosita at their house. A lot of people use fermented cod liver oil. That one works too. I guess you can rotate them if you want, but the Rosita I've seen it works really well. And so yeah, these are just a couple ideas to bring back old traditions and help people find solutions that actually work. Because most of the stuff we buy, most of this stuff you can't really buy in stores. You have to order it online at least. Because the stores won't stock certain things. So anyway, if you're into it, check it out. We have the best magnesium on the market with glass in one ingredient, and from a clear stone magnesium is what we're calling it. So most magnesium comes from cheap strata, and it's just solvent treated and extracted, and they use technical grade, which is sent around the world for de-icing planes and all these other technical applications, heat, for thermal resistance. And so we don't want to use that. We want to use a natural stone that melts in contact with water. So that's what we have at theheartoftradition.com. Thanks.